Today, we continue exploring the inner language of your intuition, your body, your soul. Remember, this really is what eating enlightenment is all about. It's about this inner transformation. We transform our relationship to ourself. We reach enlightenment within, so to speak, at least with food. And then we go from there. The outer world reflects the inner world. Diets and everything, they neglect the psychology, they neglect the inner world, and they only focus on the external things, weight loss and counting calories and the number of calories you burned, and all that is outside of you. This is inside of you. So today we're going to be continuing to explore the emotional transformation language within you. It's ancient primal language, the language of your emotional needs, right? And before we get to that, I just want to real quick recap where you're at right now. So we start off with cues. What is triggering you to overeat? What is causing you? What is it? Is it an emotion? Is it a situation? Is it stress? Is it not eating enough? What is cueing you to overeat? And before you eat, especially if you feel like overeating, can you pause? I mean, this is a critical milestone. It's why we got it in the beginning. Can you pause before you eat? And certainly before you really have those crazy urges to overeat, can you pause? Can you write something on paper? This is a critical milestone. And when you write on paper, remember, we don't have super high standards, but you're writing down what you're feeling. We started talking about that. We started talking about writing down what you're feeling. We talked about writing down a specific sensation in your body, tightness in your throat, pressure in your chest, butterflies in your stomach, swirling in your head. We also talked about how you have to really let yourself be a little bit uncomfortable. You have to bring the hot healing light of awareness. It's a little bit uncomfortable, this healing light of awareness. We talked about cauterization, how you have to have some burning in order to heal. Well, when you feel these sensations in your body, it's a little bit uncomfortable, right? So we are pausing, we're writing, we're starting to articulate, we're starting to bridge the emotional part of your brain, the things in your body. All these things, we're starting to translate them into words, and we're bridging those neural connections, right? So that's the point of writing it into words. And now we've also introduced the concepts of emotional needs. These are the building blocks that help you grow, that help you not use food. As we'll talk about later on, oftentimes food appears to help you meet your emotional needs. Like if you're very, very stressed out, if you've been working all day and you haven't eaten anything, well, guess what? A binge is going to help you meet your physical need for food. And then it's also going to help you meet your security need, your safety need for calmness and relaxation. I know that might sound strange. Like, what do you mean I'm going to be calm during a binge? Sometimes there's so much stress involved before a binge and so much shame afterwards. But, I think in this moment of being a food zombie, right? You eat a ton of food and you physically feel in pain, right? But you're laying down. You're not doing anything. You're in a fog. You're numb, right? These things are they're poor substitutes for safety. They're poor substitutes for security. But if that's the best you got, well, then you're going to eat. So now we're taking this next step and we're continuing to write down physical sensations, but now we're also writing down emotions, which is where things get a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more complicated. And it's okay for it to be confusing. It's okay for you to not be sure what you're feeling. Even just pausing in to check, and to try to feel what you're feeling, that is progress, okay? So make sure you never beat yourself up, even if you're not sure what you're feeling. Okay, so I'm going to show a quick diagram about today's uh, topic, and there will be 2 questions that are just so important. I mean, these questions are like at the heart of this whole thing. They're very, very important. Okay, so the first question, I'll put the first half of the picture up. The first question is, what am I feeling right now? Now, this feeling is specifically about an emotion, right? Like previously, I use this word feeling a lot, you know, but what I mean is you can have a physical sensation, right? Like pinch. Pinching is not an emotion. Pinching is not an emotion. I feel it. It's a physical thing, but it's not an emotion, right? So when you feel a specific part of your body, the beginner step we were working on is just noticing tightness, right? Tight, that's not an emotion. Tight is like a physical feeling. Shallow breathing, that's a physical sensation that you feel. Butterflies, that's a physical sensation. Hot, cold, tight, clenched, swirling in the head. Now, I understand there's some overlap, like swirling can be maybe an emotion, it can maybe be a feeling. There's some overlap here, all right? But we started off writing down, noticing what you felt in a specific area of your body, writing down a physical sensation. By writing down that physical sensation, you're growing these neural connections. And now we're taking that next step and asking, what am I feeling right now in terms of an emotion? So when you journal, the encouragement is to write down the emotion you are feeling before you eat, to pause, to sit with it, to breathe with that emotion. Oftentimes it's stress, anxiety. I mean, these are not fun to feel. They hurt you a little bit. When you feel this stuff, it starts to hurt. It hurts a little bit, but it's the good type of pain. It's the medicine, right? If you can imagine back in ancient days, if someone broke their finger or their hand or their wrist, they didn't have painkillers. They had to tape that arm up, and maybe the person, they broke their arm and it was like this, and they just wanted to keep their arm in a still position, but then it would be broken for the rest of their life. In order to straighten the arm, they needed to unbend their arm, which really hurt a little bit, but then they could get that cast on the arm. Same thing with the bitter medicine. You know how you remember that cough syrup you'd take as a kid, or maybe even nowadays, you're like, oh, it tastes terrible. You do it because it's good for you. All right. And that's what we're working on in this program. We're working on building these neural connections by journaling. And you do not need to journal for the rest of your life. Don't get me wrong. It's like once you learn to ride a bike, once you learn to speak a different language, then you kind of get it. But in the beginning, it's tough. So hang in there, continue to write down what you're feeling. And now for the second question. This second question, by the way, we will talk about more later, but I want to introduce the idea and to encourage you to journal about this second question as well. Now, what is that second question? It's, what do I need right now? And if you look at this second part of the image, there are 4 categories. We got support, dealing with feelings directly. We have safety or self-care, and we also have distraction. So these are just some ways to consider what you really need. Now, this is where we get practical. This is where the inner language of your soul, right? Your emotional needs. Your emotional needs, remember, are trying to communicate with you via your body. So secret language, right? Secret language, inner language. The inner language gets spoken, gets voiced out through your body, right? Your body is what you feel. Physical sensations, emotions. Your body's what you feel. So when you pause and journal and feel, you're listening to the language that your soul is speaking to you. And your soul is trying to connect you to your emotional, deeper human fundamental needs, right? And so when you sit with that anxiety, when you sit with that heartache, when you sit with that pressure in your chest, the encouragement is to write down what you're feeling, but then we're going to start taking that next leap forward. What do I need right now? Right? What do I need right now? So we're going to kind of leave this an open-ended question. We will come back to this later on. It might not be clear what you need right now, but we are starting to ask the question, what do I need right now? And it's very important that you can think about what you need and whatnot, right? You can think about it. But it's very important to remember that this language of your needs is spoken through your heart and through your body. So you can think about what you need, but unless you can feel what you need, until you can really feel what you need, then you won't be complete, right? You really need to feel what you need. The language is spoken through your body, so you need to feel into your body. And again, remember, this is a little bit uncomfortable to pause, right? Pausing is unnatural. It's not something you normally do. So just pausing might be a little bit annoying, right? You might have some resistance to pausing. You might say, "Oh, I don't have enough time," even though it's just like 1 minute, right? You have enough time to pause. You just don't want to, all right? But I get that it's difficult and that you're not going to do it every time. That's okay. But anyways, it is difficult to pause. And when you ask yourself, what am I feeling? There might be, I don't know what I'm feeling. Remember to go back to one specific point in your body to make it easy, to try to get the gears going. What am I feeling? And then once you start writing down what you're feeling, then considering the question, what do I need right now? And this is asking your heart right here. This is more of a heart question than a head question. This is like a prayer. This is like, Lord, what do I need right now? What am I missing? It's that type of energy. It's not this like, let me think about it. It's like connecting, right? It's connecting. It's, what do I need? Like, what does my soul need? And it's sitting with that, right? This is the open-ended question. And when you ask that question to the universe, it's sort of like you just sit there a little bit and you just kind of wait, right? Just kind of wait. What do I need right now? Just listen for a little bit. So, I'll see you next time.